The Italian Wine Podcast is introducing a new donation drive this month. It's called Why Am I a Fan? We are encouraging anyone who tunes in on a regular basis to send us your 10-second video on why you are a fan of our podcast network or a specific show. We will then share your thoughts with the world with the goal of garnering support for our donation drive. Italian Wine Podcast is a publicly funded, sponsor-driven enterprise that needs you in order to continue to receive awesome free wine edutainment 7 days a week. We are asking our listeners to donate to the Italian Wine Podcast by clicking either the GoFundMe link or the Patreon link found on ItalianWinePodcast.com. Remember, if you sign up as a monthly donor on our Patreon, we will send you a free IWP t-shirt and a copy of the Wine Democracy book, the newest Mama Jumbo Shrimp publication. Welcome to another episode of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Each week, she travels to incredible wine destinations, interviewing some of the Italian wine scene's most interesting personalities, talking about wines, the foods, as well as the incredible travel destinations.
Hello, welcome to On the Road Edition. It's it's not very far from Verona, but we're in this convent today. It's a Mama Jumbo Shrimp and Italian Wine Podcast special coverage of a topic that everybody's talking about, which is sustainability. So I have here with me today Alessio Planeta. Ciao.
Hi guys, morning.
So Alessio, here is, of course, he is one of the principals of the Planeta winery from Sicily. They have been heavily involved. They were forward thinkers and pioneers of sustainability from Sicily. And I suppose you're here to talk about that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about today here?
I'm here today not as Planeta, but as member of the board of Fondazione SOStain.
What is it? It is a new foundation?
It is new now, it's 2 years old, but it's the new project of Sicily. I think it's a small revolution, green revolution for Sicily, because some years ago, like 12 years ago, Tasca and Planeta worked together to make a program of sustainability. The program is called SOStain.
So SOStain, how is it written? How do you spell SOStain?
SOSTAEN. Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So this is the reason why you called it SOS?
Yes. So we decided together to make a program that was a little bit on the following what, for example, the California wine grower done, but a little bit more tailor-made for Sicily, so a little bit more strict.
For the Sicilians.
Yes, because this is only for the Sicilians. And all the taking, of course, that think about the opportunity of the problem of Sicilian viticulture. For example, one of the big, from the beginning, one of the big differences is that we cannot use grass killer in our program. So it's forbidden, totally forbidden. What we've done together is to make a foundation. Make a foundation is very important. I think it's the key of this program, because you don't only, make the program be alive and to have more people in the program. No, you work to evolve the program, and you work for having projects done together that are very important. One of these is to make a Sicilian bottle. So Sicilian producer, thanks to SOStain, in the next months could use a bottle done in Sicily with 95% of the glass recycled in Sicily. But this is not only this. There are many other projects that we are doing together. Today we are 27 producers, members.
But do they tend to be like bigger producers?
They are bigger than they are small. They are cooperative. In the board, for example, we have Giuseppe Bursi, that is a president of a cooperative. Mm-hmm. We have Letizia Russo from Mezzo Corona, so the largest vineyard of a single producer in Sicily. We have me as Planeta, and we have Arianna Occhipinti, that is a producer that doesn't need
An introduction.
Any presentation. And then there is the president, that is Alberto Tasca, that is really a person involved in this since many times, with a lot of energy, with a lot of passion. And so it's a big group, and I think is the next step for Sicilian viticulture and wine. I want to add that Sicily is the largest vineyard in bio in Italy, with 45% of surface in organic. So Sicily is have a potential this, because also weather conditions in Sicily help us to be sustainable, and is one of the value that we want to communicate more and more to our customers, to our friends, because I think it's not very clear that to make vineyards in Sicily is make vineyards in a lovely place in balance, surrounded by the sea and with a lot of value.
So, but can you would you mind just going a step backwards and tell our audience, how do you define sustainability? I feel like everybody is using the word sustainability. Perhaps it was more organic like a few years ago, but now everyone is using sustainability. How do you define sustainability? And how does sustain define sustainability?
There is a big difference for me when you say organic and sustainability. For example, as Planeta, we are organic and sustainable. We sustain on our labels. When you talk about being organic, you only talk about you make grapes and how you transform grapes in wine. When you talk about sustainability, you talk about how you make all the entire process. You do not only what you do on the vineyards, but also around the vineyards, in the winery, in the landscape. This is a small revolution. What I said in the last time, that what I've seen in Planeta, for example, in all the people that join us in SOStain, is that we are less viticulturist and more agricoltore. So you go back a little bit to what you used to do before. To be, for me, a place with 100% vineyards, full stop, is not more sustainable. So what we try to do is to have our people that join SOStain to look at what is around making a case of grapes and transforming a case of wine. There is a lot of things around your vineyards that you have to take care. For example, one of the things you have to do to be sustained is you have to guarantee a biodiversity surface dedicated to biodiversity around the vineyards, and this is a big challenge for me. So this is for me what is sustainability, is a kind of agriculture that take care about what's going on around you, what's happened after you finish to do agriculture.
So I'm a consumer, right? How do I know that your wine is sustainable? Is there a certification?
Yes, of course, yeah. There is a certification that is checked by a DMV, so by an external, of course, institute of certification, and you see on the back label a stamp. And you can.
And what do you see as the?
It's a green one with right SOStain, SOStain on the back label. And another things about SOStain that it's related to sustainability, that you start to measure and check all the impact that you do, how much energy you consume, which is the weight of the bottles. You follow all, as I said you before, around. And this is the most important things I think that we have to follow in our making wines. Today, to only be organic, that for me is crucial, I want to say, because this is not to follow this kind of program, doesn't have to lose what the consumers want. It is, of course, what is inside of the glass of the wine. But this is also something that is around, that is a long term is important as be organic, or maybe more important than to be organic.
Are you enjoying this podcast? Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, for fascinating videos covering Stevie Kim and her travels across Italy and beyond, meeting winemakers, eating local foods, and taking in the scenery. Now, back to the show.
So you have this project now, right? But how are you able to communicate to, especially the younger generation, about this challenge that we have?
No, this is something we are.
How are you doing it? What are your ideas?
We are very active to do a road show in Sicily. We have done every few months seminar where we say what we're doing in agriculture and not only. Every company have on the website have an area dedicated to sustain. But I think that you don't need to do, and every consumers now give a look to this. Then there's a bit of confusion because they have to understand which is the serious and good green stamp on the bottle, because you can be sure that every bottle, butter, cheese, sauce, olive oil, in a few months, years, will have a green sign on the labels. The more we are in the Sicilian group of Sustain, the more will be easy, because each of us use let's start to make the Sustain stamp and label and logo be around the world. Also, there is a lot of work to do to let, for example, in the wine business, the monopoly of many markets recognize this, and we start with Sustain. Some of them recognize this, and step by step we are going to, increase the numbers of markets that recognize Sustain as one of the program of sustainability.
Do you have plans to expand the Sustain program outside of Sicily, or not just for the Sicilian borders?
The Sustain program is for Sicily. Also, what we dream eventually, but this is my idea, in the future, is to open to other plants, because I would like to have one day Sustain of olive oil, Sustain on citrus, Sustain of some of the Sicilian great, most important plant and fruit.
So I need to I think what you're doing is fantastic, but somehow, I feel that we're kind of in the business and we have a conversation amongst ourselves, but often it does get a bit lost in translation. Because when I asked you about the younger generation, especially, so I was speaking to a friend of mine who owns probably the largest online wine magazine in America, and he said, everybody is talking about sustainability, but his readers, they don't care. They don't really care. Which means, what he means by that, of course, he's trying to be a bit provocative, right? But what he means is that I think it doesn't translate into, let's say, more sales of those particular wines. So I guess, how do we bridge the gap? Like, how do we make everybody else be part of the conversation? You said you're doing road shows. I think that's great. But roadshow gets to few people, right? And I guess you're trying to create more evangelists for your program. Listen, I think what you guys are doing is great. I know you guys are really pioneers in this area. Okay, Mr. Nostradamus, go.
No, first of all, as a wine producer, I don't want to become billionaire selling more wine because there is a stamp. This is not. We want to do a better viticulture and agriculture. And if you remember, when wine, as you know, as we know, as we like, as we do, restart in the middle of 80s when we open our door to wine consumers, because not all our wine consumers come to visit us, but in some way, yes, because they do through report of a journalist that came, through the video, to the image you do, to the testing you do in the winery. So the big changing when you work in sustainability is the beauty and the atmosphere and that you have in a winery, that you have in a vineyard. And because now, if you work as we work, as Planeta work, as many other producers in the board works, you are the first people look at what you do. Because you host your importer, and your importers see the winery, the vineyards, listen to you talking about sustainability, and then they say to the sales force, then they say to the customers. So we are much more transparent that people think, except over any stamps on the label that I can understand people can be confused. So what we are doing in something that is finalized to have a stamp on the labels, but there is a reality and a big changing in the winery, in the vineyards, in the place, in the people, in the material we use. And so this is the way we arrive to the final consumers, that is much more than people think, because at the end, if you are not a global brand, it doesn't exist global brand in the wine except really a few, people drink Planeta because they know Planeta, because in some way some of the friends have been in Planeta, some of the importers are to Planeta. So it will arrive, and I'm thinking after a little bit of confusion, because now when you switch on television, you see that, for example, the fuel you put in your car is green. So everything is green.
Yeah, everything is green.
Everything is sustainable. Everything is sustainable.
Yeah,
but there will be another day where people will see the difference between arriving in a winery where you see how it's cultivated, whether it are like garden, and then when everything is in balance, and something that is not like this.
Yeah, I think I love the Sicilians because you have so much more faith in humanity, I think, than someone like myself coming from, cement block, New York. But I do appreciate everything that you do and of course, your friends. This is the last question. Mm-hmm. If you were to give one advice to an individual, a wine drinker, how to become more sustainable?
Well, the first things that, for example, a day like today give me a clear picture about this, that we have to believe in research, because research to be sustainable is not to go back to the old time, not to make wine like we do to 2,000 years ago. But there is a process that is a long process that have research near you, because it's very clear that now research is working on this direction. Sometimes, and this is as a southern person, as a Sicilian, I would love to see in the future a little bit more viticulture in place like Sicily, a little bit less viticulture in some other place, maybe where viticulture is not should not be developed, because sometimes in the last years I think we moved too much viticulture in driven by the market, not by the sustainability, by the tradition, by the story, by the geology, by the whatever. And then the best way to understand the philosophy of wine producer and is the level of how serious and deep is the approach to sustainability is to visit the place. That is always best way for me to be in touch with wine, or also listen a good wine podcast that explain you exactly what's going on around the wine world.
Thank you. Well, so that's a wrap. With that, I will have to come to a close. Thank you so much. I do have a confession. I have not visited your winery, so I am looking forward to visiting not just yours, but also Tosca. And I've been to your Etna wineries, of course.
Yes, but when you go to Sicily, you always stop in Etna. Stop going to Etna.
I know, but it's just, I don't go to
Lovely
Sicily
Etna,
that. You have a winery in Etna.
Yes.
Everybody has a winery in Etna. It's kind of easy.
No, it's not easy. It's difficult, but it's no. I think it's.
No,
I have a Professor Scienza last week in a place that to live Attilio without wars is not easy,
right.
and it was without, because it's a new lovely project, not a new now, in the mountains where.
Yeah, he told me he was very impressed, and he thinks you're doing a great job. So thank you again, and hope to see you soon. Actually, we are organizing a Gita Scolastica in Sicily, not Etna. So somewhere, I don't know where though. So okay, so we'll see you soon. Ciao ragazzi.
West is the best.
West is the best.
Thank you very much.
That rhymes. Okay, ciao ragazzi.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.